Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Replimat Rendezvous. No? You don't like the new name? Okay, it's the Federation Conversation, episode 5. Hey, Scotty, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. I was waiting to see what that intro was going to be. I don't feel let down at all. It was very nice.
Oh, you like the new name, or you want to stick with the old name?
So, Federation Conversation's still temporary, is it?
Yeah, we'll find a better one. I mean, Federation Conversation's okay, but I don't think it captures the the je ne sais quoi that I want in this podcast.
But I like the rhyme. I think the rhyme makes it sound cool.
Replimat Rendezvous? Yeah. I don't know. It sounds like a Queen song. Anyway, this is we're covering Discovery episode 6. The title of the episode is Lethe.
We're not sure of the pronunciation. Lethe?
I don't know. Doesn't really matter because they didn't say it during the episode, so.
Oh, it's one of those. They're trying to buck the trend. They knew we were onto them, and now they're.
This is their Bohemian Rhapsody. Speaking of Queen.
He does actually say that in the song. It's a common Mandela effect thing. A lot of people don't know that he does actually sing it somewhere in the middle.
It's one of the background singers. Bohemian Rhapsody.
It's in there. Yeah, you get it.
Yeah, don't worry, Scotty, I got it.
Yeah, cool.
First things first with this episode, I want one of those disco shirts. I think those disco shirts are really cool.
Yep. The ghost of Gene merchandising Roddenberry is in full swing right there. I saw those shirts. I thought, oh fuck! Everyone that's into this show is going to be buying 3 of them.
I think they're actually on sale on StarTrek.com or something.
Are they selling fortune cookies yet from Captain Lorca?
No.
The fortune cookies made a comeback.
What I don't like about those fortune cookies is nobody's looked at a fortune yet. Are they even filled with a fortune?
It's a mystery. You have to guess what the fortune is that he's getting. It's kind of like, oh,
I also,
a good one or a bad one.
Yeah. The fortune said, "Fuck your admiral friend, and all will be well." No, I also don't like the way he opens the fortune cookie by smushing it in his hand and then just letting all the crumbs hit the table.
Yeah, I've never met anybody that willingly crushes them into their palm and just lets the debris fall. I mean, that's...
Close your hands over the fortune cookie and then just open them up again. And then I'll eat the pieces.
I guess it's because he worked in the industry and they're just so disposable to him. But to me, you buy a box of fortune cookies, they're for enjoyment. You don't just shard them. He just
munches on them for as a snack. He doesn't even bother reading the fortunes nowadays. That's what's happened.
My ship, my rules. I eat the paper too.
My fortune.
So on balance, how do you feel generally about this episode, David?
Do you want the episode, the balance of the episode or the season, like the show in general?
Oh shit, I don't know. You're the compere of this podcast. If you want to talk about the show in general, that's fine by me.
I like how the show's getting more episodic. It's definitely feeling a lot more like. I gotta go to sneeze. Star Trek. It's getting into a rhythm. It's getting into a rhythm that's definitely a lot more recognizable as Star Trek, and they've got their own little set pieces in each episode, and I'm enjoying that. It feels more like season 7 of DS9 than TNG or something.
Well, I mean, structurally, it's becoming a fine little Trek show. I can kind of jive with it. But there were some things that made me bend the episode, but we can talk about that when we get more specific. So,
well, let's get specific, Scotty. I think there was a Pete Townsend song specifically about this episode. What's up?
I've got one.
Yeah, go on.
I don't like the fact that they've got the holodeck where basically he goes in there with Tyler into the Lorca Dome to fight these fucking fake Klingons, and they've got all that technology. That's amazing. Top flight exercise facilities in the Danger Room.
Yes.
But then Michael Burnham wants to go jogging with Ensign Doublewide, and they're just running around the corridors. Fucks with that.
Well, I mean, it's a little harder to conduct a military operation in the corridors. And
I get it. Yeah.
And I suppose if you're counting laps, a circular saucer section of a ship might not be too bad.
Yeah, but you know what else wouldn't be too bad? Jogging around the ancient arenas that the first Olympics were held at. I mean, you could do that on the holodeck, couldn't you?
Maybe you can. Oh, yeah, you're right.
I mean, anything's possible. They would have just walk around the office. Fuck me, stinking the place up. And you gotta believe that the redhead is making some bad smells. She hasn't been exercising in a while.
Really? You think she's stinky?
Honestly, no. I actually think she's fine. I'm just
so you think she's fine. Yeah,
she's all right.
That makes sense. What I don't like about this episode, specifically.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, the whole episode just felt like kind of a bad Voyager episode in terms of like, it's a bit too magical, and like, there's too much. Oh. I don't know. There's something about it that just it feels like a bad Tuvok episode. Yeah. Where like he has to go into a mind meld with, I don't know, someone, and it's like the fight, and your Chakotay has to punch out. I don't know. Something about it is just. It's not a very strong episode generally, like the story.
The mechanics of a vision as a thing that you can go into and do stuff and then come back out of, for me, I was turned off that when I saw, I think it's Exorcist 2.
Yeah.
And Richard Burton is like going into someone's mind. And is halfway through the film, it's a fucking terrible movie. And he's like, no, I have to go back in. You have to send me back. It's like, and then when I saw that movie, I don't know how many years ago, I realized how stupid that is and how it doesn't work in movies and shows. I hate it. And so basically, visions and things, when they work like that, where they're having in-depth chats with each other and things of consequence are happening,
yeah.
I can't stand it. So when you
say
like
they're fist like fighting as like a, like their minds are fighting. Yeah.
I like how he kung pao judo chops her out of his vision. She's like, ah!
Yeah, all the graphics and all the like visualizations of all this stuff, it's really goofy.
Like, extremely goofy.
He goes, yeah, and then she goes, whoa, and like disappears back out of the vision.
Yeah, but it's like you say, like the episode of Voyager where they had Sulu, and I was like, oh, I can't wait for this. There's an Excelsior episode, and then you find out it's all just some dumb vision about him dropping a girl off a cliff, and
that episode was terrible. It was all about Tuvok and his dumb kids or something. Something like that. Nah.
By the end of the episode, I was ready to throw them all off the cliff, just one by one.
Yeah, honestly, I just don't like the Vulcan magic stuff, and they're leaning on it really heavily in the show with Sarek and her. Also, Sarek, the actor, he can't do.
I don't like him.
I don't like him at all. He can't do all the serious stuff because he looks like Mr. Bean.
You think he looks like Mr. Bean? Oh, okay.
He looks like Mr. Bean.
You found a lookalike. I think he looks like Patton Oswalt.
Well, maybe he's a mix between the two. And there's a particular shot where, just as she finally wakes him up from his slumber on the ship, it zooms out of his.
The camera's right.
It zooms out of his face and is like smiling at the camera, basically. Yeah. There's a particular shot where he's just got this goofy grin on his face while he's like sideways. I think it's just gravity working on his skin, but it looks so stupid.
Yeah. No, I was watching that here in the kitchen yesterday over breakfast, and I just burst out laughing at that shot. And the lady that I'm staying with, she couldn't figure out why I found it so funny at first.
It's just he's just too goofy. Like, I can't take him seriously as like very serious. I'm a Vulcan. I'm I just don't care. It just doesn't fit.
It's pathetic. There's a lot of things I have complaints I have about the Sarek thing in this episode. To be honest, I mean,
keep going. Oh, actually,
well, you go first.
I'll start near the beginning of the episode.
Okay.
The scene where she ends up in the med bay, and they're all standing around her. I get that they don't want to do too much exposition, like take too long with it. But they can't cram that same amount of normal exposition into like 30 seconds and have it be believable, because all these people were just yelling exposition at each other in that scene. Like, they're talking about, the Vulcan mind meld, I thought it was a myth. Well, it's not a myth, it's a real thing. Also, they tried to bomb my parents and I died for a second, and then they used the mind meld.
Yeah, that was a fucking...
Like, she threw out all that exposition about the Vulcan extremists just so quickly, and
oh, yeah.
Surely there's more creative ways to do it.
I did say in a previous episode of this thing that I respect that they don't waste too much of my time when there's something that they want to do, but sometimes I think they do it a little too quick. And in this, it was like, oh, Vulcan extremists, huh? And the guy with the bomb on the shuttlecraft. It's just like.
Also, they stole it from Voyager. There was one of the Kazon.
Really?
One of the Kazon injected himself. As he was a captive on the ship, and he injected himself with something, and then he got all bloated and big, and he went, ah! And then he blew up. I guess they didn't steal it. I mean, they could have stolen it from Iron Man 3 as well. But...
I'm just remembering the scene where the Vulcan guy blows himself up now, actually. Yeah, it's pretty crap. And he gives him so much time, too. He has this big, long lecture. And now that I blow up, I finally...
Yeah, while he was talking about that and, like, revving up to explode, Sarek could have, like, put the force field around himself, open up the back hatch, just send him out into space.
And instead he went
depressurize the ship
until the flashpoint. It's so stupid.
This guy's never played FTL. I don't really like the Vulcan extremist thing because it's too close to the whole motivation that the Klingons have in this series. Like, it's all about we must remain the thing that we are, and having them both be focused on that is just kind of weird. And
I don't like, what do they call them, the logic cult? No, I can't remember.
Logicists or something.
Logicians.
The logicians, yeah. No, that was the baseball team and Take Me Out to the Whole Suite.
I mean, you're mad for not liking that episode more. But
I like that episode.
No, you don't. You hate it. I do like. Do I like it or I don't like it? What was I going to say? Oh yeah, Cybok. I mean, Cybok would have been one of these guys, wouldn't he? Because he wanted to pursue forbidden truths and all that.
Yeah. I don't know. Like,
maybe he was in a.
I don't mind the idea. Remember. I just don't like the way they do Vulcans in, like, modern Star Trek. Like, from Enterprise onwards, they're just all assholes, and it's...
I'm just kind of sick of it, because they're supposed to be not emotional, but yet... And it loses... It's like 7 of 9 being a cyborg chick, and it just loses its meaning when every episode she has a breakdown, and she's like, oh no, suddenly I'm feeling things, and I like cheesecake. And
that was a great episode.
It just... I would feed her.
And actually, Scotty, let me just correct you for a second. That was the Doctor in 7 of 9 body.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
but you know what I mean, though?
Get shit straight. No, I get it. It's like...
At least when...
Yeah.
I mean, Spock had his breakdowns, but at least there was a contrast. Sometimes he'd be also the serious guy.
And, like, Data was emotionless for most of the series. Like, there were a few episodes where he got to do other stuff, but it wasn't often.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. The way they do Vulcans from 2002 onwards, they're just all assholes. Yeah. They're all very emotional, and they're all, like, hypocritical and stupid. And
they clap.
Do they clap?
Yeah. What's his name? That shitty actor that I really don't like at the end of Enterprise. He's like clapping after his speech.
Is he? Oh, yeah. He's like I know. I think I know which one you're talking about. Was he the one in that fan film?
Yeah.
Yeah. I should know the name of the actor.
He's always in the fan films, because that's really double dipping, isn't it? Like, you've ruined Star Trek. You were responsible Star Trek ending on television for over 15 years, and then you're in all the fan films too. I mean, you talk about greed.
Yeah, I wish they got... I'm just waiting. I'm honestly just waiting for Jeffrey Combs to appear on this series. He has to appear at some point. Jeffrey Combs being Wayun and...
I don't know.
I just want him.
Are they open?
I want him. I want J.G. Hertzler, Martok. I want all those alien guys just to come on and be aliens on this show.
Are they open to old Star Trek actors appearing on the thing, or is it?
Well, they got Harry. No, they got Harry Mudd. No, surely they are. I mean, it's not like their characters aren't specific enough that they would be recognized as... Yeah, they weren't like main cast members. Like, they played roles in Star Trek after DS9 ended, so...
It wouldn't overshadow it like Jonathan Frakes being on the show. I mean, that would be the...
Yeah, Jonathan Frakes is... He comes onto the ship and he goes, hey, Ash Tyler, I know you, you know. Yeah.
For time-traveling Riker, how great would that be?
I really like that. I mean, I don't like the episode, but I like that one scene in Voyager where he's on the ship. And he's like, "What the hell is going on? Janeway, where the hell am I?" And then he doesn't get to remember it. He gets sent off.
I keep forgetting that he's in that. Thank you for reminding me.
Oh, I'll tell you what you have also forgotten. Is that Barclay was in more episodes of Voyager than TNG.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, you've told me that as well, but I still don't believe it.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things that just doesn't make sense in your mind, but it's true.
It's like that thing.
He was only in like 5 episodes of TNG.
Did you know that Abraham Lincoln has been dead now for longer than he was alive? Like, it's one of those weird statistics.
Yeah, like we're closer to the moon landing than 9/11.
The pyramids.
If you turn a timeline upside down, we're close. Anyway.
It's like the Mandela effect. I told you right before we started recording. How about that skull? I thought it was a rock.
Okay, so Scotty's talking about the skull that Luke throws at the switch in Return of the Jedi to crush the Rancor. To be honest,
I've watched that film in Blu-ray. I thought it was a fucking rock.
To be honest, I have not seen Return of the Jedi enough to recall something like that.
What was the reason for that? You didn't have the tape when you were a kid?
I didn't have the VHS. You had the VHS. I did not. I had A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back on VHS, so I watched them plenty. But
then you skipped straight to Phantom Menace.
I didn't have Return of the Jedi, so I saw it way less. Like, I saw it at your house a few times. Obviously, I knew the movie, but way less than the other two. And still, to this day, I have not watched it anywhere nearly as close.
Well, you're not missing as much. I mean, you really only want to watch the scenes with Luke and Darth Vader.
Yeah.
That's the real meat of the movie. And by God, that music when they're having their last fight is like my favorite movie
I love that music.
Ever. It's amazing. It's brilliant.
I also like... Wait, there wasn't music during the Empire Strikes Back fight, was there? It was just
not
them
at the start. There was music composed for it, and you can watch that on YouTube, but it wasn't in the movie.
No.
Ooh.
I like the silent... I like the silent lightsaber fights sometimes.
Oh, they're the best.
Like, I think...
when we do get them.
When Dooku and Anakin are fighting or something, like right before he gets his hands cut off. Dooku gets his hands cut off in Revenge of the Sith. Isn't there like no music there or something? I don't know.
That's very effective, yeah. You just get the sound and the faces, and then our Palpatine going,
yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's a case to be made for good music. Like, they tried something new in Attack of the Clones. They had the all that Spanish little clickety-clacks and all that
drums.
stuff. When,
the Wharf drums,
yeah. That's pretty good. Anyway, we're getting a little off topic now, talking about Star Wars again.
You know... Attack of the Clones, if you cut out all of the romance, that would be a really good film, wouldn't it?
I think No? Attack of the Clones is one of those things where you have to cut out more than half the movie, then technically it can't be made into a good movie. I think that's the rule.
So, well, basically what I want is just Detective Obi-Wan solving a mystery.
Yeah.
That's like half the film, isn't it?
I really think just if you view it as a runtime thing, you would lose more tn half the movie. Okay. If you took out all the shit.
As long as Dex is still there. I think he should be more prominent in the film. I think Obi-Wan should come back to Dex's diner and say, I went to check the archives. That planet doesn't exist. And then he goes, oh, don't worry, I'll take you there. And then they go in his ship.
If it was a
Camino
game, that's exactly... Like, if you know how they expand things in games, there would be at least 5 visits to Dex's diner, and you'd be like, I found another clue. I was wondering if you could help me analyze it.
There's like the tutorial. No, I wanted Dex just to take him in his ship to Camino. But there you go.
Well, you know Dex has it. Dex has a ship.
He must have a big
ship. Come down here. It's under the diner.
Maybe it is the diner. Maybe he parked the diner. Maybe it's like a moving diner.
That's more like the children's book version of the film, isn't it? Come with me, Obi-Wan. We're going to go on an adventure. I want to imagine that he's got like, one of those driving, those coffee vans, but it's like a whole diner, and it's like a spaceship. Yeah. And then that unicycle bitch, when they take off the acceleration, she rolls out the door.
Honey. Did she say honey when she was talking to,
You want a Java juice? She called Ewan McGregor. She calls him honey, and he's like, "I am doctor, not honey." It creates a ton of respect.
Anyway,
watch yourself, Your Honor. Yeah.
What else did you want to say about Star Trek?
Oh, this episode, we've got tons to say about this episode. We're not.
Go through some of your
Is there
notes.
anything you want to say? Oh, okay. Well, let's have a look at these notes, then, shall we? Let me see. I hate the Vulcans. Disco shirts. We've already talked about that. They do mention the Enterprise, though. I was waiting for that.
Yeah, and Spock, and how long was the Enterprise going, like flying around before Kirk?
About 20 years.
Give me a canon lesson.
If you stick to the old timeline, then it should be about 10 years through its career at the moment.
Okay.
So, yeah, and Spock should be on there.
Spock is there?
Sticking there, yeah. Apparently.
Is number one there?
They haven't... See, here's the thing. I ignore canon, remember. I'm just going solely by what's on the screen in this show. Then we don't know. I don't think they've actually said it explicitly. So.
Sure. Okay.
I had to... That was a really nerdy sentence, and I didn't want to say it, but I sort of...
Well, yeah, you kind of had to. Well, at least we know that Spock was in Starfleet. We know that much.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not yet
that
reached...
part of the story is still the same.
Maybe he's not yet reached the Enterprise. Who knows?
Anything could be shaken up. He might be the enemy.
I hope Zachary Quinto shows up.
Oh, Snackery Quinto. I mean, someone's going to tell that guy to lay off the fucking pastries.
Is he getting fatter, or he just...
He's absolutely... Did you watch Beyond?
Oh, yeah, I know, but like since then.
Doctor, the gravity on this planet is increasing. Oh, Spock, it's your fat ass. Look at you. That was my audio clip. There's another note I've got here. Great, more paintball armor. I don't like the trend of every kind of armor or combat outfit or just anything. I mean, they're in the danger room, right? And they're killing the holographic Klingons.
Yeah.
I don't like the suits. Why is everybody going to wear this stupid suits?
Well, it's armor. I mean, Yeah,
but why is the trend going in that direction? I mean, Jesus.
I don't know, that's just body armor, isn't it?
Actually, in Star Trek 2, some of the security guys used to have like this weird gladiator-looking kind of armor on them. It looked pretty dumb.
Well, they had some weird outfits in that.
And chin straps and things like that. It was really bizarre.
I'd like to think that by the time TNG came around, the armor was built into the uniform, because they never wore anything. Any dangerous away mission, they just wore their uniform. They didn't give a shit.
Exactly.
This nylon jumpsuit, yeah.
I don't know. I understand that costume designers need to make more work for themselves, but...
Well, how much effort would have gone into that? It was just a paint... It was like a paint vest.
Well, no, they charged Paramount or CBS or whoever for the design process, which would have taken months.
Yeah.
And then manufacturing, textiles, test fittings, modifications. But what they actually did was they rented local paintball suits, and they just said, "Hey, Shaniqua, put this on, you fuck."
They actually talked about that in After Trek, and
oh really?
That's exactly what they said.
It's all true. Confirmed.
It's all true.
So how are we doing in a head-to-head with After Trek? I mean, are we kind of really keeping pace with them, or what's the?
Well, they do that. What do you mean?
No, I don't know.
We're a bit behind. They do their episode about 3 minutes after Star Trek ends. So.
Ooh. When I come back, what do you reckon? We get one up on the same evening, or what's the fastest do you think we can do?
Yeah, I think we should do it on. Well, I mean, let's talk about it. Yeah, we should do it on Monday afternoon.
Yeah,
and then just put it up as soon as possible. Because
I'm good for that.
Yeah, I think the views are dipping a little bit just because we put it up on Wednesday or Thursday. Because
I mean, fuck the views. I don't feel bad about it. Low views. I'm used to that over in Barry Den and 12. What I feel bad about is when people miss gold. And I'm sorry, but sometimes they do.
This is our gold. Yeah.
This is 40 minutes of us talking shit, but in there, in the middle, is a thing you'll never hear.
Some gems.
Some nuggets.
Some gems within the gold.
I gotta say, Lorca sliding on the floor was pretty stupid as well.
It was badly edited.
It's like I don't know if this is just in all movies now or like superhero ones, but when the female character will do a jump through the air and she'll land one leg up, one leg on the floor, and her fist punching the floor. And that's like, yeah, she's landed.
That's every superhero. That's the superhero landing.
I know what's going on. They want me to check out Scarlett Johansson's tight body when she's.
It's not specific. No, it's not even specifically Scarlett Johansson. It's that's just the superhero landing. That's where you land with your fist down and like you're crouching. One of your legs is up and one's down, and you land on the ground.
What I'm saying is, I know what they're doing
because that cool, in episode 2, when they're leaving their sister ship. What's the sister ship called again?
Episode 2.
Yeah, that's what it was called.
Sorry, I thought you meant Star Wars.
No. In the episode 2 of... I'm pointing at the thumbnail that I made for that episode. Because it's right in front of me.
Okay. Thanks for telling me. The Glen.
Yeah, sure. Anyway. Yeah, so she gets onto the shuttle out of the Glen, like, while they're being chased by the tardigrade. And she does that landing. She does basically fist on the ground. And she doesn't make a big crater, but,
I would have more respect for Shaniqua if she just said to them, I'm not doing that.
She just refused to do that specific thing?
Well, if more actors said no, like with the Harvey Weinstein... Oh, maybe I shouldn't say that.
Alright, your point is made.
Shit. You might need to edit that out.
No, I'm not going to.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, if enough people say no to something or take a stand... I mean, they're doing it now with that sack of shit. Everyone's got a story, and now he's out. And it's the same thing with the crouch jump punching the floor.
Scotty, I think that move is not at the same level as Harvey Weinstein's.
It's not at the same level, but I want it gone. I mean, to me, there's
Do you think it's getting there? It might be at the same level soon?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
It's not a black and white thing, but I am just saying it's on my side of the no barrier. It's one of those things I want gone. I'm not equating it with that.
Okay.
Of course, it's not as serious. I can live with it. But, yeah, I want it out.
Okay. Fair enough.
I've got another note.
Yep.
It's a good thing that Ash Tyler is a spy because this show can't carry another gay relationship. I'm talking about the way they were like buddy each other after the holodeck. I mean, fucking hell.
I was going to leave the Ash Tyler stuff for later, but there was another piece of evidence that he is the albino Klingon.
Yeah.
The actor that is the albino Klingon is not a real person.
What?
The guy who plays Vok doesn't exist. Like, he's on IMDb, he's got one picture, and he's in nothing else, and he's not a real person. So
is he saying CBS put that page up as a red herring, or?
Yeah. And they've got the name.
Isn't it?
He's got some fake name, and it's just a fake person. Like, it's probably the same actor that plays Ash Tyler.
That's a great letdown.
Now, I really...
That would be so obvious.
At this point, I really hope they're just, like...
Fucking with
tease. Yeah, I hope they're just, playing around. Because he's too human. Like, I don't know, them... Because before, I kind of believe... Like, I could have believed it at the end of the last episode, because he hadn't said much yet. We didn't really have that much of an idea of who he was. But after this episode, it has to be... If he's still a spy, he has to be unaware of it, like he's some sort of sleeper agent, and they've imprinted they've imprinted the memories of some dead soldier onto him, and so he doesn't even know he's a spy.
He believes it
because he's too good a spy, and also they completely changed his physiology to be he's all human, and it's not really believable. So I hope they're just fucking with us and he's not really the spy. But I don't see any other way that it could go.
They're pretty much writing themselves into that sort of corner, I think. There was another clue that he's actually a spy, though. A Klingon in a human body. His sausage crawled out of the plate when they were in the cantina. It was like, fuck this! No, but I had a problem with the cantina scene.
Yeah, sure.
Michael Burnham and... What's his name?
Michael Burnham.
Michael Burnham and Ensign Doublewide were at the replicator.
Yes.
And they kept on changing the orders, right?
Yes.
Wouldn't it just... The way they were doing it, wouldn't it just give them an extra large pile of food as opposed to changing parts of the order? Because they never really...
I think it was...
way that was...
I do get what you mean. I think it was a context thing. Because she says, add salsa. And then Burnham says, add roasted tomato salsa. I don't think they got double salsa. I think it was... I think the computer's smart enough to figure it out.
when they were picking out the enchiladas and stuff they were going to get, or whatever the fuck they were ordering, like they were making it sound like they were just going to get extra portions. And I think the computer has to go clarify. You want 6?
Did you want 8 burritos, or did you want just the 4? Yeah, no, I get what you mean. What I don't like about that replicator is that it gives you little snarky comments when you take your food.
Enjoy. What does it say? Enjoy your meal? Or?
Enjoy your nutritious burritos full of antioxidants. Yeah, no, the green tea was full of antioxidants, and it tells you that. And it's like, what if you ordered like cake or something? It's like, oh well, here you go. Here's your very very tasty cake.
Enjoy your 6 times the recommended daily dosage of whipped cream. You fuck.
Yeah, basically. Like, why didn't you just fuck off, computer?
Yeah, how about you stop guilting me?
Also, I don't like the computer voice. I think we talked about this before. It's just not very nice.
They've definitely rented somebody that sounds like your average mobile phone AI, I think. It's deliberate.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just not very nice to listen to. And I don't think Majel Barrett would have been that nice to listen to either. I'm not that huge a fan of having her as the computer. So
I think the last time I heard Majel Barrett do something was for a fan film, and she sounded pretty crusty. Just vocally, like
it sounds like when you're talking to the computer, there's some old lady stuck in a room that has to read all the I mean, because that's what was happening.
It's like the voice of. I mean, the voice just goes. It's like Nichelle Nichols in that fan film we were watching. Oh, Chekhov! I'm so happy. Is he called Chekhov in that thing?
No, he's
Sorry,
Chokhov.
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, Chokhov.
It's like Leia as well, except Leia, Carrie Fisher was full of all kinds of things.
Oh, of course. Well, I mean, we didn't know how close to the end she was when she made Force Awakens, so I feel bad now for making fun of her.
Do you think she finished all the additional dialogue replacement for for The Last Jedi, or they're gonna get somebody else?
No, they're gonna get her daughter to do it.
Is she gonna put on the old lady voice?
I hope so. So I'm thinking that in The Last Jedi they were going to kill her anyway, and then
I don't think they were going to kill her. I think that she was going to have a big part in Episode 9, apparently.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Which she didn't need a big part in Episode 9.
I think she did.
No, I think. I mean, okay. If you look at it in the a logical way, then they would have had Han have a big part in the first one, Luke in the second one, and then Leia in the third one. I kind of just want them to go away, except Luke, because we haven't seen anything about Luke. But I just want those characters to go away. I don't want them in there anymore.
But this is me before Carrie Fisher died. I wanted the movies to have a bit more of them. Otherwise, I don't have a reason to watch. I mean, I love John Boyega and Daisy Ridley and Oscar Isaac. And
Jason Isaac.
Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren. I can't remember this many names.
What the hell is his...
I like the new actors, but if it's Star Wars, it's going to be about the old guys too.
Adam Driver.
Otherwise, what's the point? Yeah. It's like when they tried to make New Degrassi High and nobody watched it.
Okay. Can I stop you for just a second?
Yeah, sure.
It's nothing like that.
Isn't it? Didn't they have the old crew in there as they were like the teachers? Or am I thinking some other show?
I don't know. Are you talking about American Wet Hot Summer and all the characters in that were teachers in the second one? In the new one? In the Netflix one?
No, I'm talking about Degrassi. Didn't nobody watch the reunion or whatever?
Scotty, I think we both just realised that we're talking about things we have no idea.
Yeah.
When was the last time you watched Degrassi?
Degrassi Junior High.
I'm really going to enjoy on the first episode that we do of TNG. I'm going to accidentally put the Degrassi theme instead of the TNG theme because it's called Degrassi: The Next Generation. And it's going to be really funny. And everyone remember this, because it's going to happen. And we're all going to laugh about it.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be great!
Oh, hang on. I'm just reviewing my notes again. I've already said the thing about the flashbacks. I mean, flashbacks and memories are one thing, but to have a structured sort of to and fro with the character, I got sick of that the first time they did it when they were in the nebula. And she's like, Sarek, I need your advice.
Well, see, you could imagine that thing in the nebula was Well, not in the nebula, in the Battle of the Binary Stars.
Yeah.
I don't like calling it that because that's what they call it in the show, and I just want to call it the first episode or whatever, but it just makes more sense.
It's the Battle of the Non-Binary Stars, when you look at those two guys that were brushing their teeth at the end of that episode.
Exactly.
Because they don't conform to... Yeah, anyway.
Yeah. You made me lose my point just then. No, when he comes to her when she's knocked out or whatever in the thing, I could imagine that being just like a part of him stuck in her head, and she's using that to imagine what he would say in that situation. But I don't think that's what they did. I think it was like a magic link between the two, and then again they did the magic link in this episode as well. And fuck off.
I don't know. I think that's an existing thing about the Vulcan Katra, is that they. No, you know what? I'm completely confused. I'm actually thinking about Guinan. Think of me as an echo.
You're thinking about the not the Great Link,
I stay in your mind as an echo, Jean-Luc.
The Vortex? No, what was it called?
The Nexus. And
whatever.
No, I thought there was a bit of Vulcan lore where it was kind of like once you've fingerprinted, there's always a part of you there. But then the question becomes: is that a permanent link, or is it like an impression of their mind, so you can sort of imagine what they would think of a situation, even if it's not actually them you're communicating with? Like, is that what
they kind of did that with Sarek and Jean-Luc. He was like, a part of Sarek is always with me, and
I mean, if we want to talk about Sarek in this episode some more, because that's really where a lot of
it was the main part of the episode.
I'm fucking angry. I didn't like it when they did that in TNG, and I definitely don't like what they did here.
What didn't you like in TNG?
Oh, well, just yes, our bond was unlike any he'd ever shared. All that garbage.
Yeah,
and this bullshit with Michael Burnham and Sarek makes me so mad. He would not be thinking about his drop kick, what would you call it, exchange student, guest student person, kid that he babysat for a while. He'd be thinking of Spock. Come on. At the very least, maybe Cyborg.
Cyborg. Nobody ever talks about Cyborg anymore. I'm glad you're bringing it up, Scotty.
Well, I'm just pissed off that he doesn't exist in Star Trek anymore. Like, for me, he's a lot cooler than anything that's being done right now. But Cyborg is very cool. People forget that.
He's a very cool guy.
No, listen, I do not like it. He'd be thinking about Spock or his wife. He would not be thinking about Bo Burnham. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I get you. It's part of this thing where they're kind of retconning this popular character because they need a connection to the old Star Trek, so they get Sarek.
Yeah.
And then they also need they need to connect it to the new Star Trek, and then Michael Burnham needs to be important, so they do all this shit, and it's like Sarek has all this other stuff going on already. Why don't you just instead of shoehorning him in, or her in rather, why don't you just make up new characters and stuff instead of like making things more confusing?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, on the one hand, they're not trying too hard to jam it in because it's its own show and it doesn't need to link directly in. It's not like you put in the last DVD of Discovery and then go and put in the first DVD of the original series. It's not like that kind of thing.
Are you sure?
It's still just I hope not. But it's still insulting to me. I mean, I'm still mad about it. I'm sorry, Sarek. He just wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah, no, I get you. I agree as well. I don't like the Sarek story. I don't like Sarek in this series.
And the dream judo, I'm sorry. I mean, it was kind of funny, but at the same time, I was like, what is this? What are they doing?
Also, there was a bit, like, the second time she goes in, he turns around and says, he, like, has an accent when he talks to her. He's like, this is my mind. Get out. I don't know what accent the actor actually has, but it was definitely not a Sarek voice. Like, they accidentally picked up the wrong take or something.
I just watched the 2 Kill Bill films for the first time while I'm over here, and
did they have subtitles?
I can't remember. Okay. I think there were subtitles, but then my lady friend had to translate the parts where they're speaking Japanese because the subtitles were in Spanish. But anyway, yeah. I'm thinking because in the second one, there's all these scenes where Uma Thurman goes off to fight, learn from the old master on the hill. Mm-hmm. He's got a really long beard, and he's pretty funny. He's taking the piss out of her. And I was kind of wishing that these scenes with Sarek would sort of take that direction, but they didn't. So it's a bit of a...
I asked about the subtitles because Like when I downloaded Baby Driver. I also downloaded Kill Bill, and I tried to watch it with Rachel once. And it didn't have subtitles at the Japanese part. So we got to that part, and I was like, oh, shit, I don't know what they're saying. I haven't seen this film enough to memorize what they were saying.
Yeah, no, well, they spoke more Klingon this week, and unfortunately, the Soldado was all El Gringo, and I couldn't fucking understand a word of it.
Oh,
so,
speaking of that, when you have a neutral meeting place between this evil, militaristic enemy and your own people, don't rely on a bunch of idiots in like bathrobes to be able to, like, they should have good security there, isn't that the whole point? But instead they get these three guys in these big heads and bathrobes. And it's like, thanks for hosting us. By the way, did you hire any security? No? Ah, shit.
Our species' main ability is that we make very good dip.
Yeah,
enjoy our selection.
They may host a good party, but they didn't host a good negotiation. And then they just got stabbed in the back for it.
They got fucked up by the Klingons too. They were the first ones to hit the deck.
You can hear their big bouncy heads.
And I mean, that whole thread with the ex-wife, how funny is that shit? Lorca,
I don't think it's an ex-wife. I'm trying to
figure out who that... okay, whatever, whoever the fuck she is. What's her name? Cornfield? Admiral Cornfield?
Yes.
She's some actress from the 80s, I think, but I still can't recognize it. I'm working on it.
Admiral Cornwell.
Can you please...
Katrina Cornwell.
I was close.
Look, I'm looking it up. I knew you were wrong.
Yeah.
Jane Brooke. She was in...
She was last seen being held hostage by big angry Klingon.
Hang on, let me just go to Internet Movie Database because Memory Alpha is not very good. She was in Kindergarten Cop. Was she in Kindergarten Cop?
Oh.
I think she might have been the main.
Honestly, I can't remember.
The main
Maybe
lady
she was like the
Kindergarten Cop.
Was she really the? She in Kindergarten Cop she has laryngitis, and then Arnie has to go take her place. I think.
She's Zach's mother in Kindergarten Cop. Isn't Zach the kid that climbs the radio tower or something? Wait, is that Kindergarten Cop?
Ugh.
Yeah, Zach's mother.
I always thought they got the mother. I always thought the mother was the hot one. Gee, she has not aged well.
Jane Brooke. Kindergarten.
Oh yeah, I did like the Vulcan harp making a cameo during the flashbacks as well. That's pretty good.
Sorry, what?
But I liked the Vulcan harp making an appearance during the Dream Duel.
Oh, I like that the subtitles said harp music playing when she appeared. Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't actually hear any music. I think the subtitle guys just jumped the gun on that one. There's some deaf person assuming there's going to be music.
What I wanted was them to like stumble into the harp while they're fighting, and for her to go whoa.
And during all these, I actually wanted to just start taking on random people in the dream, like in Inception. Yeah, but
like everyone's turning on it. Yeah.
Yeah. What pisses me off about this fucking thing is it's another episode that just shows how selfish and stupid Michael Burnham is. Like before, you know how she was talking down to Doug Jones or whatever his name is?
Yep.
Saru.
And
in this episode,
Sarek
is floating in space and dying and needs urgent help, and she's trying to resolve some old shit. Just imagine Sarek being like, "I'm in a coma right now. Can we table this for when you've got me at home?"
Yeah, every character is growing on me except her and Sarek.
And she's the lead. It's important that the lead and her mentor be people that we like. I mean, obviously Michelle Yeoh is dead now, so that sort of Sarek is filling that hole. But I hate both of them. They're dumb. They're dumb as hell.
Yeah, like I think she'll get there eventually. Like there'll be an episode where she doesn't act like a complete asshole. I mean, she wasn't that bad this episode.
She needs to be taken down a few pegs. And I thought being in prison, in that prison bus with the Scrubs theme is playing, I thought that would be the moment where she got a bit humble. But
no, she kind of just she became like an icon, and then that made her head bigger. Now she's an anti-hero, and now everyone knows her, and yeah.
I just want to talk about the resolution of this episode, or the fact that it's unresolved or whatever.
Yeah.
I love how things played out with Lorca and the X. Him pulling a gun on her, she blows her top. She's like, oh, well, I'm going to go up to this negotiation now. She gets captured, and then Sarah's like, we better go rescue her. And Lorca's like, no, we better do this by the book. It's like, what about it? Ultimate, fuck you.
See, I didn't get the I didn't get the him saying fuck you to her in that situation. The way I immediately figured that situation was he actually took her advice on board and was like he wanted to keep his job.
Oh no! I mean, first of all, I see it more as him because he saw how desperate he was. Please don't take my ship.
Yeah.
So I see it as him holding onto his job. Second, it's a bit of a fuck you, and yeah.
Yeah, I didn't immediately get that fuck you, but I got the all of a sudden he's being a responsible guy, and this is pretty good. He took that advice on board. He's growing as a character. He understands his faults, and now he's doing things by the book.
Yeah, but my last note is fuck his ex and Lorca rules. So I mean, I'm on board now. I really like this captain. I think he's the best. He's my favorite character.
He is definitely a lot better than I thought it would be. Just generally, like I like the actor. I like the character. So and yeah, all the other characters are growing on me as well. Yep.
Yeah, some of the military jargon and kind of gets on my nerves though. He was talking to his ex in the quarters, and she was like, "Oh yeah, you passed all your psyche vals. What's your hurry? Can you say evaluations, please? Just, I mean, we're friends. You got somewhere to be? Mary Roberts, what's her name? Admiral Cornfield.
Jane.
Fuck.
Jane
Roberts. Okay.
Jane Roberts. Yep, that was it. Jane Brooke, actually, but anyway.
Jane Brooke. Okay, but seriously, get your shit straight.
You don't like the abbreviations. I think that's how people talk in the actual military, though.
Oh yeah, we've got tech on this ship.
Yeah, no, I don't speak like that often. I will usually say technology when I'm talking about technology. The tech.
As I say, look, I mean, I don't like transposing my foibles onto other people, but me, I don't like abbreviating everything. I like to say full words.
It's fair enough, Scotty.
But that's just me. I mean, obviously, I can't tell the Admiral what to do. Nobody can. She's on her own now, locked in some Klingon pain dungeon.
Another theory that I've seen being floated about actually the ending of the last episode.
Oh, okay.
Where Stamets was looking in the mirror and it's creepy, and he's somebody suggested that he's been swapped with the mirror universe. What's the word? His mirror universe counterpart, because at some point there's going to be a mirror universe episode.
Yeah.
So it's possible, and also he's acting like a real goof in this episode.
Yeah. That's the one thing from the notes that I skipped over. What the fuck is wrong with him? What happened to Stamets? Groovy. Captain Lorca should have punched him right out there and then for that outburst.
This is a military ship.
Yeah.
Get your ass back to the
rules.
Yeah.
What do you think you are, Austin Powers? You don't talk like that on my deck. Uppercut him.
They're definitely going to... I think it's a mirror universe thing. They're definitely going to bring it up. Because they made such a big deal in this episode as well.
Just when I was starting to like Stamets, all of a sudden he's turned into a hippie by his spore experience. I don't like it at all.
And how many times has he gone in there? And is it making him mentally retarded like it was the tardigrade? Like, is it damaging his brain?
Quick question.
Yeah.
Was there any hyperloop jumps in this episode?
They didn't.
They just used normal warp?
No, they didn't.
I mean,
because they just went to the nebula, and then they sent a shuttle out, and that's all they did. So.
Can they keep putting him in the hotbox, or is that pretty much a one-shot deal?
I don't know. That's the thing. At some point they have to use it again, so it's going to come up again. Maybe that'll be the Mirror Universe episode where suddenly they use somebody else, and then they come back and they've got a goatee, and
no. I mean, but that's the thing about, is the Mirror Universe just evil, or is it mirror? Because in that case, Captain Lorca might be a perfectly nice guy in the other universe.
I think he's a nice guy in this universe.
He just wants to win the war.
Yeah, I think I was very quick with my judgment on Captain Lorca, but I think he's a very good character. Yeah. I think in the mirror universe, he might not be. I mean, he's a nice guy here. He might be an evil guy over there. He might be even worse.
Yeah.
The thing about the mirror universe is that, like in TOS, everyone was just evil. You know, it was we are an evil federation. We all have.
And Sulu was straight.
Yeah. What a terrible world to live in. And in Deep Space Nine, everything was all fucksy, topsy-turvy. And it was just different. Yeah. It wasn't like good and evil, it was just everyone's different.
Yeah.
Like,
and Mira Kira was pretty good though, wasn't she?
the intendant? The superintendent? No, the intendant.
Yeah, the attendant, yeah, the parking attendant. That's the one.
Look, Scotty, I know somewhere deep down in your brain is an attraction to Nanavisitor.
I'm going to have to resolve this before we get to Deep Space Nine, because we can't take up whole episodes of me playing Would I or Wouldn't I?
I know when you watch that scene where she's singing Fever.
Heart and Soul.
No, just Fever.
No. Listen, I'm not into Jazz Club Nana Visitor. If there's going to be any Nana Visitor that I'm plowing, it's going to be the Mirror one.
What about just hardworking Bajoran first officer?
No, not a chance.
Wants freedom for her people. No,
not a fucking chance. I'd rather fuck the chair I'm sitting in.
Okay, what kind of chair are you sitting in?
Well, this is sort of an interesting upholstery. Not really a real material, such as I don't know, hard to tell. Anyway, we'll figure that out later.
We'll figure that out later. All right, fair enough.
So, I mean, this week's episode, pretty interesting. Again, a show with a lot of promise and possibilities, but some glaring problems. That Sarek stuff just made me really... It's probably ruined the party for me this week.
I mean, my opinion of the show is just steadily going up from the low point that I kind of started at. I mean, I didn't start too low, but it was,
Yeah.
It's steadily going up, but almost having a bad episode like this, like a self-contained bad episode, kind of makes me like it more as a Star Trek series. It's like, this is just like Star Trek.
I mean, to me, it's not a bad episode, but just I don't like new shows in jamming themselves in. I can't say it enough. Nobody, certainly not Sarek, would give that much of a shit about his dumb prodigy refugee guest kid. I mean, it's like, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, they should have just made it more about Amanda.
Yeah.
Have her relationship be with Amanda, and they did do that a little bit, but they also had him caring. Is it because she said husband?
No, there's just something about the way she was talking to Bo Burnham. I didn't really like the way she was. She felt a little dead to me. I think Winona Ryder was a better Amanda.
I was about to make a Winona Ryder joke because she looks like Winona Ryder, but
does she?
A little bit, yeah. How else would I have made a Winona Ryder joke? Because I forgot that she played Amanda.
Oh, we've got to do an Orville update, but since I haven't watched it, maybe we can just insert like 3 minutes of video of men working in the sun shoveling poo and the sound of buzzing flies. Can we just get that up?
And Seth MacFarlane talking about what he wants overlaid.
There was a clip of the Orville on Twitter, and just it looked so dumb. I can't believe anybody would still be watching it.
Again, I haven't watched it since episode 4. I do know that there was they didn't have an episode last week. It must have been, they must have pulled it because it was so bad or something.
No. They just needed a breather because there's been so much a furnace of creativity. They needed to back off a bit and just regroup.
Really fine tune the goodness of the next few episodes. Make it the best for the fans. I mean, that would be a long podcast finding out who I hate the most on that show. At the start of Discovery and Orville, I was like,
yeah,
Orville is very TNG. Not good TNG, but it's, it's fine. Like, it's okay sci-fi and bad comedy.
Yeah.
But I just lost interest. And Discovery is getting to the point where it's more Star Trek So it's I don't have to watch both, basically. I don't have to put up with Seth MacFarlane to get my Star Trek fix because this show is becoming more and more Star Trek than it was.
Yeah, I'm very happy about that. But, the Orville lost me anyway.
I know. Did you watch the episodes I gave you?
No, I ran out of time. I had so much to do. I had so much to get ready for.
I gave you like episode 2 and 3. I don't think you watched them. So. Oh, no, you did watch them. You were talking to me about
the last one I watched
special.
was the Gender Switch.
Yeah, that was the 3rd episode. And then there was one more after that I watched, and you didn't watch, and then I stopped. So.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's where we're on the. That's where we are on the Orville. Cool.
So I don't think we have to do Orville updates anymore because we're not watching it. Sorry, Seth MacFarlane, if you're watching this.
Yeah. Sorry.
I think you're an okay person, probably. But I hate your comedy.
I will stick to that opinion. But yeah.
I mean, like, if I was a comedy writer and I was writing complete shit, like Family Guy, and they gave me an opportunity to make a Star Trek like, and I had to have my brand of comedy, my brand of shitty comedy in it, I would do it. And I would try as hard as I can to make it just Star Trek. But, I'd just be in the same position he is. And I'd make the shitty jokes, and I'd do all that stuff, because that's... I don't hold it against him, is basically what I'm saying. I don't think you can help it.
You wouldn't even be a little bit like Wayne and Garth? You take the piss out of the sponsors kind of thing? I mean...
You hold up the cards
good writers
and have it written on the back, yeah.
Plenty of really good comedy writers have been stuck in a gig they didn't entirely want to do it, but they've managed to somehow put their finger up at the whole situation. And I mean, I don't think he's really doing that, is he?
No, because I think he's actually he thinks he's making a good show, and that's fine, whatever. But you're not, so. Sorry. Anyway, so that's episode 6. I think there's episode 6 of Discovery. That is, I think there's 3 more, and then there's a break. The break was originally going to be at episode 7, so the next episode. And then they moved it up 2 episodes. I don't know what that means.
Is that moving it up, or moving it up or forward or back, or I don't know how that works.
They're moving up the. I don't know. Anyway, the season break is 2 episodes later. I don't know what that means for like. Is there a huge cliffhanger at the end of the half season, or?
You better bet there is.
I would assume there is. But they've just changed it, to like a month before it comes out. So I don't know.
I'm gonna look at my calendar. Am I still going to be here when we do the next one? Or
who fucking knows? I think that's up to you.
If we do it next Monday or Tuesday, that'd be good.
Okay, I think that was the plan.
Monday would be great.
Okay.
Anyway,
in other Discovery news, because there's so much to catch up on. It got renewed for a 2nd season, which I'm not entirely surprised about.
I thought that already happened. I thought shows just by default got a 2nd season now.
No, it just happened, and I'm not entirely surprised, and I'm happy about it. Yeah.
I'm not calling Star Trek too big to fail, but just as a capital investment thing, they've been pushing it too hard for them to then say, nobody likes this, we're not getting another year. I mean, I don't see that happening.
Well, I mean, it basically paid for itself when Netflix bought it, so maybe it was always going to get a 2nd season, no matter what.
Well, there you go, renewed. We have more work to do next year.
So, in between, though, we're going to have to start TOS.
Yeah, obviously.
We'll have to see if we can fit a particular amount of seasons in that gap. I don't know, we'll have to figure it out, because I don't want to get halfway through a TOS season and then have to start Discovery again.
Well, on your spreadsheet, how many episodes of this would TOS for a season?
Hang on, let me bring it up.
Call it up. You guys are getting a
I'm calling up the spreadsheet.
David has a spreadsheet. Yep.
So, how many episodes does TOS take, is what you're saying?
For a season, how could we get a season in?
The first season of TOS is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 episodes.
Oh, piece of piss. We can knock that off in a couple of months. We can do the whole of TOS in 1 year. Easy.
Well, Scotty, we can do it in 2 months. So
yeah, you know what I mean, though.
We can do the whole of the first season in 2 months, so we can easily do it in a whole year.
I just realised how dumb that sounded. You know what I mean?
All right, good.
Okay, good. All right.
I do have to update this spreadsheet. I've got all the podcast episode numbers, and it's already fucked up by the fact that we didn't have a pre-show, which we were going to do, and then there were 2 episodes in the first episode. That fucked it up as well. So,
motherfucker.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is Sinequa Martin's fault.
Yeah. Well, this is Starbase David signing off. We need to come up with more dumb nerd things to say for our presentation, I think.
All right. In 20 seconds, this Cardassian data rod will explode, so please take it out of your Cardassian iPods and put it in the bin on your way out of the Replomat.
This is no fake, David.
This isn't fake. This is a real Cardassian data rod. No, thank you all for listening to our shit. If you want to like and subscribe, do it. If you don't, then don't. If you
we don't want the numbers to go down anymore. We want them to go up. So
yeah, we want them to skyrocket from this point on.
Keep watching, because we're never going to get Michael Dawn on here if we only get 60 views. So
I can't wait. I can't wait. Send us an email at federationconversation@gmail.com and leave comments on the videos if you have questions or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
because I've been thinking.
Yeah,
I've been thinking, because we need guests to take this podcast to the next level, and I'm thinking, if we can't get Jason Isaacs, if one of us works on our Jason Isaacs impression, do you think maybe we could fake it?
Do you think we can get Oscar Isaac instead?
Oh, maybe as a backup.
Just as a backup.
Yeah.
You know, maybe a Last Jedi special. We'll have Oscar Isaac instead. Yeah, leave questions, and we'll try not to answer them just on YouTube, and we might actually answer them in the next episode of the podcast. But
yeah.
Do whatever you want, really. Just any support helps us out, so do all that stuff. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week for episode 7 of Discovery, where something happens, and I don't know what, because I don't get the next time preview. Thanks, guys.
Yep, see ya.
See ya. Bye.